Hi. Now, part of the work I was doing with version 5 was to try and make working with images that much easier. So what I'm going to show you here is how you can upload an image, then place it within a page within your site, and then if you need to, how to delete that as well. Okay, so what I've done, I've come through to the editing and image management page. Okay, and you'll see you can upload up to 10 at a time by just doing the same process I'm just about to show you for each of these elements. There's no limit to how many you can add in total. I've just set it to 10 because much more than that and it starts becoming very slow. It will take a long time, and I'll explain why that is in just a moment. So first thing is to select an image. So what you'll do is you'll start off, you'll go to choose file, and I've just put one for this site in the desktop here, which is that image. And what I'd suggest you do is organise your images you're going to want to upload so you can get to these easily during this process and you're not hunting around for them. So if you put them all in the same place, it makes life an awful lot easier for you. And just a side note on this, these aren't images to be used in your gallery. That is a separate process. Okay, these can be used for other things like your image slideshows and also the map markers. So it's just the gallery is a separate thing, that's all. Okay, so now I've selected an image, and as I say, you could have this for multiple images at a time. You just click on the upload button there. Now you'll see my progress bar is at the top here. Okay, and you'll then see that there we are, there's the image, nice and loaded. Okay, so that's the first step. Now when this is loading, the reason it can take time is it isn't just loading an image and plonking it in. It loads a full-size version and then creates several different versions of it in different sizes, so that if you need to show a small version, it only loads the small version. It doesn't load a big version and just make it display smaller, which can take up, if you've got lots of images on a page, that can take up a lot of time and data usage. So this optimizes it based on the size you actually want to show. Okay, so there's the image here. Now, just a point as well, these do need to be JPG files. At the moment you can't use PNG. The reason for that is PNG files are very big, and unless it's really necessary, i.e. you want it with a bit of transparency, you're much better off loading JPGs. If you use PNG files and particularly want to be able to load them with a transparent background, then do let me know. I can sort it out. It's just I've turned that off because what you'll find is as I say, the image files can be very large compared to JPGs. Okay, so I would suggest that you put a description for your images. This isn't something you have to do, but I just recommend that you do here. So we'll just call this Learn to Drive, and it's Horncastle is the main area for this site. So we'll just put Okay, now you can also put an alternative alt tag. Now the alt tag is actually what's used by the searches. If you do an image search, for example, it can help your images show up within a search. If someone was doing an image search for driving lessons in Horncastle, for example, then this image might start coming up if you've got it set as an alt tag. If you've got the description in here and don't put an alt tag in, it doesn't matter because it will actually use that description anyway. Okay, so if you want to add a separate one, you can. If not, it will just use the same. Okay, so you can just save that, and you'll see now, you see what I mean there, it's now put the alt tag as the same as the description. The description is not used much at the moment, but it will be a useful thing. I'll be making other features that will take advantage of that in the future. Okay, so now we've got that done, let me show you how you can put that into a page on your site. So what we'll do is we'll we'll put in get codes, and we just click on that. And what we've got here is a couple of different options, and I will be adding to these in the future. But if you know how to use this section, the other bits I add will just be, they'll be simple to use, so you'll get the hang of those quite quickly. Okay. So what you'll see here, we've got a full size of 566, it was actually quite a small one I used for this. But you'll see underneath, it then creates all these different versions. Okay, now it actually creates them up to 750 pixels wide, but it only adds it up to the maximum size, which is the full size version here. So because this was less than 750, it's not bothered making that size for it, because that becomes very pixelated. Okay, so to put it into your page, let's for example use a 350 pixel version, and let's say we want it aligned within the text itself. So we'll just put it in left aligned with no border. Where you've got no border, of course the border color is irrelevant, but you can set different border widths for that. So in fact, I'll tell you what, why don't we put a 7 pixel border and make it yellow, just for the sake of the example here, and then generate code. So now what you see is under here, you can now see how this would look on your site. Now obviously if you've got different color backgrounds, then that would affect it. So if you've got a yellow background, for example, you wouldn't see this border. Okay, so you'd need to change that to black or something like that. Okay, so when you're happy with that, I mean, you can go and you can just change these settings here, so try them in different sizes, etc. So let's do one at 200. Okay, so you just see this is purely just as an example, so you can get an idea of the sizes, etc. So when you're happy with that, if you just put your cursor anywhere within this box, it will automatically highlight the whole thing. Okay, and you can then copy that by pressing Command C on a Mac or Control C on a PC, and that just it just copies that code into your computer's short-term memory. Okay, so now we're going to put it into a page here. So we go to editing, which takes you to the pages here. We'll click on edit, and then we're just going to put it somewhere in the text here. So let's just say we put it at the beginning there. Okay, and you can see that that's all the code. Alright, and just so you can see, this is the page as it is at the moment. Now if we save changes and refresh this page here, you'll then see that the image then just shows up in the left there. Okay, so that's how you put it into any page, and you can have multiple images on a page. So let's say, again, let's just for argument's sake, say we wanted to add it onto the right hand side as well, further down. Obviously you'd really do this with different images, but this is purely for the sake of this demonstration. So you right align it, and we'll put this one with a white border. Generate the code, copy it into your computer memory, go to the page, choose somewhere to put it, so let's put it there. You see this is all the code that you've just, that's the code that you've just put in. Okay, and save changes, and now when we go back to the site again, you'll see that there we are. You've now got the two. Now this has got a white border, but obviously because the background of the image itself is white, it doesn't show up so much. I mean, if you can just see there, you can see the border on top of the kind of shadow effect on that image. So there you go. So that's how you add an image to your page. Now if you want to change those, what you need to do is take out the code that you just put in. Now this can be a little bit daunting, because you've got all this this stuff here, but basically what you're looking at is this opening tag, div tag here, and the closing div tag there. If you highlight that whole section and delete it, and the same at the top here, delete that, and then click down and save, then go back to the page, it's then gone. Okay, now very importantly, because you can of course delete the images themselves from the image management page, if you delete it from there but leave the code in the page you had it in, it will come up with a little error on the page to say that that image couldn't be found. So it's important that you delete the code as well. Okay, so that's that. Now just one other point I want to cover in this is, again, in the image management, if you upload an image that was taken on a pad or a phone, very often it can actually be turned sideways. Now so far the browsers don't have any automated way to recognize whether it was taken on a phone or pad, and therefore doesn't turn it automatically. So if you find that an image has loaded sideways, you've got these two buttons here. Okay, now you obviously click each one depending on which way you want to turn the image. Okay, so that bit's very simple. The confusing part can be sometimes, and let me show you. If I click on rotate, so it should rotate it to the right, and you'll see that nothing's happened. Okay, however, if I refresh the page, you'll then see it's changed. Okay, now let me explain the reason for that. When you've gone in, what's happened is any image that your browser needs to display, it effectively downloads it into what's called the cache memory on your computer. Okay, and by default your computer will show you that image from memory, rather than necessarily the live version on the site. Okay, so what it was doing was showing you that image it had in memory, which was the right way. By refreshing that page, what it's done is you're then telling your computer you now want it to go and check for the live version, and it will then re-download that image and it will show it the correct way. Okay, I'm going to be looking at refining that and improving it, making it easier to use, but that's just so you understand why it does that. Okay, so let's change that back. Now what the easiest way actually is if you go off the page and then come back to it. Okay, and you'll then see that it's the right way. Okay, so that's it. That's just basics of using images on your site. You can use them on any pages you like, and can try and make the site that bit more interesting by injecting some pictures in there. And I hope that helps. But obviously, if you got any problems or any other areas of this feature you'd like to have covered, then please do let me know. Okay, bye for now.